Hey there, fellow entrepreneurs. Welcome aboard the Ethical Scaling Podcast, your go-to destination for navigating the wild world of online business with integrity and fulfillment. Jay and Ben are going to be your trusty guides, and they're thrilled to have you join us on this epic journey. In this season, we're going to have a lot of fun connecting and chatting with some of the OGs in the online business space, giving you all their stories, the breakthroughs, the playbooks for success, and some unexpected gold nuggets. So grab your favorite beverage, cozy up in your favorite spot, and get ready to dive deep into the art and science of ethical scaling.
Welcome to the Ethical Scaling Podcast. Today, I have an amazing guest. We haven't talked about sales, so I'm sure we're going to have enough time to talk about sales with Dean. I want to start with two things that I've heard Dean saying before. We find people money before we even help them, and be a human, and then be a good human. Dean, welcome to the podcast.
Brother, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it sincerely.
It's amazing to have you here because you have such an amazing experience doing multiple things in the past. I know that people might know you for the business you have today, Hardly Selling. You have a lot of big names with you in that business venture, which I know makes it very, very interesting business. But I want to talk about like the beginnings of everything. Like, where did it all start? When did you start your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, man. So I started my entrepreneurial journey back in 2019. Previous to that, I was in sales. I was selling chiropractic. I was selling supplements at a supplement store, apartments through college, that kind of stuff. But my true entrepreneurial journey started in 2019. When I bought a course, I won't say names. I'll be ethical since the name of the podcast too. But I bought a course from someone teaching people how to take their fitness business online.
Okay.
I was like, oh, this is great. And I invested, and dude, it was actually a bootleg of his. So I bought it from somebody who was using his course, and he just gave me his logins and he charged me to use it. And the big takeaway I got from it was find fat people on Instagram and message them, and then get them on a sales call and close them. And I knew nothing about sales at the point. Like I knew how to sell chiropractic apartments, but like sales in this realm, I knew nothing about. So I would sit there and I would literally go through and find people. I would hashtag search weight loss journey, fat loss journey, health journey. And I went through all these different hashtags for freaking weeks on weeks and weeks, man. And I think I sent out somewhere around 100 to 150 cold DMs a day. And I was like, well, this is the way. I'm sitting in my bed doing this. This is great. And it just didn't work. Like it worked, but like to get that to work, like you need a following, you need a bunch of stuff posted. Like you need to actually look like a real human. And like, dude, I was just some like guy who posted some like workout videos in college. And I was just like, oh, well, I'm fucking jacked. Like it's going to work. It didn't. I made no money. I took one sales call. I got one person to say yes to $1,600, and then she ghosted me before she paid me. And so like, dude, that was my intro to the entrepreneurial world, right? It was like, I'm going to start my own business. I knew exactly how many clients I needed to sign every week, how many messages I needed to send every day to get there. And I was so committed to doing it. I didn't care if it took 10 hours a day, because I was like, dude, I get to sit on my couch and do this. This is great. And, funny enough, it failed. Like it's not that it failed, but it failed, right? Like it's not that I wasn't doing the work. I just wasn't doing the work in the right way, right? It's not what was meant for me. So like getting into it, man, like I was just willing to do what it took. But then on top of it, like I didn't have any of the foundational aspects set up for it to actually work. So I ended up having to go back into chiropractic sales, right? Just like seeing people at the mall, waving them down. Hey, Jay, you want to get your spine checked? Chasing people down at grocery stores, like finding people in gyms. And like, I had to go back into that because the reality is like, I just didn't have the foundation of what was necessary to make the online thing work yet.
But was that your official like first business, or because you talk about like having two other businesses prior to this one that you have today? Was that the first one, or did you have two others after that initial one?
So I had one after that. And now this is, I call the first one an official business, dude, because I quit everything and went in on it. Like
Okay.
I called the person who had a job lined up for after college. I said, hey, man, I have this thing. I would hate myself if I didn't go in on it. He tried to convince me he was a typical recruiter. He's like, no, you're going to fail there. He was right, but I mean, he was doing his job to hit his metrics. The second business was a company called Global CEO, man, and we actually did we actually made a lot of money. Like, I think we did just about 7 figures in our first year. And we were helping Fit Pros go online, funny enough, like helping
Mm-hmm.
people do what I wasn't able to do. But like I was selling a ton of fitness at that point, right? So all
Mm-hmm.
I was focused on was like, okay, these people come to me, they have leads, I can teach them how to sell. So we had a company called Global CEO, man, and it was great. It was on the back of one of my buddies, big influencer. I think he's got like 1.5 million followers. And as soon as we launched, our first 3 days, we did like 90K. And I was just like, holy shit, dude, I'm going to be a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this big idea, these big plans caked up in my head. I remember my wife and I would drive, we were renting a house at this time. We would drive down this one road into Franklin, and I was like, I'm going to buy a house on this road. I
Mm-hmm.
specifically remember telling her, because I was like, I know what it takes for us to make a million. For me to make a million, I need to be 80 a month every month for 12 months, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to work a lot, but it's going to happen. And, as with everything else, like the one thing that takes down business is partnerships, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not partnerships that they're the thing that take it down, but it's just like misalignment of partnerships. Like me doing work here, him doing work there. I'm doing more than him, she's doing more than me. So like there was a lot of internal conflict that was never talked about, right? So the valuable lesson there, because we didn't like die, it didn't go in the negative. We just had so much internal conflict that we shut off traffic and decided to let it just phase out, because like there was so much internal conflict. But the main lesson there, man, and why I share that is, number one, what we want to do and what we end up doing typically end up being a little bit different. But number two is honesty and efficacy go a long way. And what I mean by the honesty part is, like, if you're working with someone, man, it's a relationship,
It
right? The
is.
reason relationships fail is because you don't communicate. And so
Mm-hmm.
if there's something in your mind and you don't communicate it about it as a business partner, like, guess what, dude? That shit fucking starts to build and build and build. And what ends up happening is exactly what happened with us. Like, we didn't talk about it. We let it build up and fester up. So at the end of it, it didn't blow up. No bad blood. I'm actually texting my old business partner right now. Like, I was texting him before this call. But like, it ended up being that, like, hey, there's so much damage because we didn't talk about it that it just doesn't make sense to do business anymore.
Mm-hmm. I think people often neglect the importance of communication. And I've been in business with Ben for almost 5 years, running the same business. And literally, I run it the same way I run my marriage. Same way. I just do it with Ben the same way I do it with my wife. And even the other day, Ben and I had a conversation about pushing a couple of new things. Then I asked him to do something. And he was probably tired that day. He didn't want to open the information I sent over. And he asked me a question that was answered inside the document I sent over to him. And I messaged him and say, hey, this is not how we're going to push. If you ask me to push and I did my part, now you go and read what I sent before you do your part. I'm not going to answer your question until you read it. And I was like, I'm saying this with love. I'm saying this because I love you, because I trust you, and I understand the context. But if we're going to do it, we're going to do it together. And that type of communication can feel hard at times, but it's what's needed to build that transparency and that open line of communication between partners if we want that partnership to stay for a very long time, so we don't have to deal with that internal friction that we feel like it's unfair, or I'm doing more or he's doing less. Those were things that for us have been pivotal and very, very important to keep this partnership going for so long.
Yeah, man, it's an interesting one too, because our company now, I have density of talent on my team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I say density of talent, like, I truly believe one of my team members equals three of most team members anywhere else. Like, I truly believe that. And the density of talent comes with unwavering amounts of honesty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when someone's pissed off, they say it. We don't get pissed off often, but you know what I mean? Like, whatever's going on, we talk about it, we say it, we feel it, we say things we say when things are a little messed up, we say some very out of pocket things every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
But we have someone on our team. I don't know if you know Will Hinkson. He's awesome, but
Mm-hmm.
he kind of brings us back front and center. Will's been a CEO of many companies. So he's kind of the guy when we're going crazy, and not in a bad way, but we're like, dude, let's do this. Let's try this. He's like, hey guys, like, what's the goal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that doesn't actually help us there. So I need you guys to just get back on pace, get back on path, and just forget about all the other shit. And like, we have that relationship where it's like, hey, if you guys are veering off to the left, I'm going to set a hard boundary and I'm going to stop you right here. You can keep going past it, but I'm just
Hmm.
going to let you know, like, this is the boundary. We need to operate within these bounds,
Hmm.
right? So like we found a good cadence there because we're all very similar humans in how we communicate. And when I started to dig deep into the why of that, we've all had a very interesting past. We've all seen and done some things that I think a lot of the world hasn't, right? Not that we're better, but like, dude, I'm a recovering addict. Will's had 10 years of combat experience.
Hmm.
Sean's been in the police force in London, which that causes a lot of chaos, a lot of fun, a lot of mental problems
Hmm.
there. So we've all seen and done not similar things, but similar types of things, right? We've seen a lot of fun stuff. So our level of communication is very direct and kind of just like, okay, like if you're an asshole with me, I'm an asshole with you. It's not personal, it's just how we talk, which
Hmm.
allows just an even playing field across the board. And I didn't have that with my other company. And it
Hmm.
was just me with the previous company, and I wasn't skilled enough to do it, but we didn't have it with the previous company, Global CEO, which ended up being like if we had talked about these things as soon as they popped up. I mean, dude, our clients were, we had an exact metric down with Global CEO that if our clients did X, they would get Y. And I could actually market it. It was true, right? It was pulled off of all client data. So I could literally have someone come in, tell them exactly what they needed to do to make the money they wanted to make. And like we had an 80% success rate of our clients, which for an online business is unheard of. So we had all the
Hmm.
signs to like be really successful. But because of the internal conflict that we didn't want to talk about, what happened is it imploded from the inside out. And like our clients didn't see it, we didn't let them see it. We
Hmm.
wanted to make sure we were continuously doing the right thing. But dude, that could have been a really successful company.
Yeah, because you guys were doing amazing. It's just that when you don't enjoy the path with whoever you're doing it with, it just gets really, really frustrating at the point. So I'm very happy because seeing what you guys are doing nowadays, I think it actually was amazing that it did happen because you guys are building something very impressive with Heartily Selling.
Yeah, dude, there's a saying I saw this morning, and it's I forget what it exactly was because I was half asleep reading it, but it's something about being thankful for the trials and tribulations because it allows you to be a better and harder human for the
Hmm.
future. And I wish I could remember the saying, but it was from the Bible. Someone posted it, and I thought it was awesome. And it's kind of been really true, right? When we are facing some hard things, it's hardening us for what's to come. It's
Hmm.
setting us up for what's to come. It's setting us up for the next venture. So like when you're getting your teeth kicked in business, or you're getting your teeth kicked in whatever you're doing, like it's not just like, hey, like you're just being stepped on because the world wants to step on you. It means you're serving a bigger purpose in the future that you don't know anything about yet.
You know what's funny? I've said this multiple times to friends of mine as well, and they ask me, where can you find that confidence that you can figure things out? And the example I use, I lost more than 100 pounds myself. This was a long time ago. And after doing that, do you think anything else is going to scare me more than that? No. No, I lost 100 pounds by myself with no help, just researching what would be the right fitness method, the nutrition, training. And I
Mhm.
did it by myself.
It's
There is
impressive.
not going to be a project that I'm going to have to do nowadays that is going to be more difficult than losing more than 100 pounds by myself. And that time, that was scary because I was overweight for most of my life. I was 19. I couldn't envision myself being slim or fit, and I had to do it. And it took me 5 years to figure it out. Like most people can get it done in a year or two. It took me 5 years because I wanted to learn how to do it. I wanted to learn the mechanics of it so that I could sustain the results over the long term. And I did. Like reality is was 13 years ago when I hit my body weight goal, and I'm still on track to stay within my ideal body weight goal since then. But I think the realization for me at that time is like I can define my health goals, my business goals, and my relationship goals, and I can crush them if I know what's my North Star for each important area of my life.
That's the important part, man. And I'm glad you shared about that too, because I sold fitness for a very long time. When someone has to lose that much weight, like when someone's got 80 plus pounds to lose, like it's not as simple as just go do this thing. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
really not, because we're dealing with years of this individual feeling and looking a certain way. So like to get their mind to actually like draw the line in the sand and flip over, dude, it's hard. Like I have close people that have had 200 pounds to lose. And the one thing that I've learned is like when it's that big of a goal, when it's that big of a thing, there's a lot of past shit they're dealing with, right? Not to get
Oh.
into the whole like trauma thing, but like, dude, to lose that much weight, like you've gone through some stuff, like you've been dealing with some mental battles. So you need to get someone to commit right there, but then also recommit every single day because it's so much easier to revert back. right? And I
It
learned that
is.
selling fitness. It was actually quite funny.
It's interesting because I've been through the journey, and I think there is a moment that I can remember where you feel like it clicked internally.
Mhm.
And it's not when you lose the weight. It can take a year after you lose all the weight till you feel like it clicked internally. And I tell this story a lot of times. You know, when I realized it clicked, I was at a party, and I think our friends at that party ordered sangria, and they gave everyone a glass except me because they said, "Oh, Jay doesn't drink."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Shit! If even outside people already see me differently. They see me as a person that has new habits, someone that is not going to binge or overdrink on this party. Things actually change, not just internally, but externally as well. I'm now perceived as a different human because I am a different human. And
Mhm.
that identity shift shifted all my decision making process because I do what I think I am most of the time. We all do. Like your identity crisis can generate new actions that you like or might not like. This is why I love entrepreneurship because even when you go through failed businesses, I think that can easily shape you to become a better human over time and make much better decisions.
I use fitness examples every time someone has a business issue going on too, because it's the most simple and basic way to explain a complex topic,
Yep.
and everything's so related. I mean,
Hmm.
solving problems, getting over it, it's all the same, right? And I've gone through. I was in fitness for a while before I got into business like this. I've been doing fitness for 11 years now. Not a super long time, but previous to it, I didn't have a chance to. But before it, I was a gymnast, and I use fitness examples all the time. And it's because it's like it's all relative, it's all the same. And if we can break it down into simple, basic terms where it's like, hey, do this, do that, you get that, people understand. But
It's
when
all
it's money
behavior.
stuff, it's business, we want this complex answer when the reality of it is 99% of the time it's not.
It's behavior, and that's the thing that I learned the most about going through it myself and having a. I had a fitness business. I did it for a while, quite successful. We coach more than 5,000 people in their fitness business. So the amount of learnings I got from seeing human behavior in action for the good and for the bad, it's invaluable. Like I've learned from the ability of me seeing patterns and knowing exactly when someone was going to be successful or if they look like they were not going to be successful, which adjustments we could make. I was fortunate enough to have that experience and opportunity. But going back to you from two business ventures to the new business venture, what got you to start Hardly Selling?
Man, when I shut down the second business, um, I was managing our sales team and managing salespeople, right? That's all I did. And I even had to sell on the side, like while I was running that business to make extra cash. And that led into managing teams. So I started managing teams. I managed a couple. I took over a brand after that. It was a health brand. I took them from 300 to $1 million a month in a couple months. And I was like, oh my God, I'm kind of good at this. Got into the next brand. The next brand, I took them from 1 million to 5 million a month in 5 months, 16 to 77 sales reps. It was pretty wild. Came into another business after that, 600 to 1.6 in 2 months. I was like, oh my God, I'm quite good at this. But what made me start Hardly Selling was twofold. Number one, all of those businesses I took up and scaled from the sales perspective, that is. At any point, they could just tell me, see you later. And
Mm-hmm.
everything that I built and did and the money I made them would be gone. Not for me. I mean, not for them, but for me. And it kind of bothered me, right? Because I built a lot. I spent a lot of time. I pour my heart and soul into everything I do, right? If I'm working with someone, I'm committed to them, right? It's like you said, you treat your partnership like your marriage. I treat our clients the same way. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like, I poured my heart and soul into a lot of things just to realize at any point they could take everything I had and leave. And I didn't like that. So I was like, I have to kind of start my own thing because I don't want anyone to be the controller of my income, the controller of what I can actually take care of my family with. But then also on the other side, I just really didn't like how most sales trainers were doing things. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
like how most sales agencies were operating. And I'm not going to say any names on this, but I did a little work with a sales agency and I heard how they talked about their clients. And I was like, that's not cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just wasn't a fan. So I was like, okay, there's a lot of people doing it wrong. I'm just going to do something and do it right. And so, like, my first start of the business, I was just like, I decided to just offer mentorship. I was like, offer mentorship, 1,500 a month, 5 people, you want it, take it. And within 30 minutes, it sold out. I was just like, people, I want this. How do I pay? was like, okay. And so I started helping people with sales. I started helping people with management. I started helping a couple of business owners, which led to a couple of business owners asking me to run their team, asking me to train their team, managers wanting mentorship, reps wanting mentorship. So I had all these things going on. And I was like, okay, well, this isn't scalable, right? I don't
Mm-hmm.
need to scale, but like I should probably focus on one thing. So I looked at the things I didn't like doing and I cut them out. And I was like, okay, so I love working with managers. I love working with teams. This is great. And, I had a conversation. I actually bought my business partner out of the business 6 months in because he was crushing it with the company he was doing work with. Bought him out for 8K, which was the best 8K I've ever spent.
Mm-hmm.
But a couple months after it, I got connected with Will. Sean Ray
Mm-hmm.
connected us, and he's like, hey, you should talk to this guy. I was like, okay, I'll talk to this guy. No context, nothing. And I share the story because he gave the same speech to Will. I said, you should talk to this guy. He's a good guy. And so I got on with Will and I was like, hey, I have no idea why we're here. But Sean said we should connect. And he's like, oh, it's crazy. He did the same thing for us. So I was like, well, dude, I don't really have a job for you, but I am doing this. Like maybe there's a world in which we start managing some accounts together. He's
Mm-hmm.
like, cool, let's try it. And that conversation changed the trajectory of the business, right? Because there's things that I do really well. There's things that he does really well. And we started managing a couple accounts together. I just give him 50% of the account. And we found out we worked really well together.
Mm-hmm.
He is very good in the data in the weeds, and I'm very good with people. I don't want to be in the weeds, but I can be. He doesn't want to be with people, but he can be. So there were
Mm-hmm.
likes and dislikes that matched. So honestly, starting this business, we started it as a joke because it was just literally to troll the sales world. And what
Mm-hmm.
happened is because we cared so much about people and we wanted to help people as much as possible and we were honest and we were ethical and we actually cared when someone came to us, and if someone had a bad experience, we would go above and beyond to do everything for them for free. Everyone started talking about us, and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't just, oh my god, these guys are great. It's like, hey, this guy is actually doing it right. And so like that's been kind of the starter, but also the jet fuel to the business is honest, ethical communication with people. If we can help them, we'll help them. If we do something wrong, we fix it, right? Levels of extreme ownership that I don't think most people can face. Levels of like, hey, I'll lose money if I do something bad. I will lose money to make my clients win money, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of our ideology is it's a people first organization,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think I lost like 30K last year because we entered some sort of partnership that didn't work out for our clients. So I ate all the cash. I didn't want my clients to pay it. I ate all the cash, right? So like people see that, right? It's not just that, hey, this Dean referred me to this guy and he sucked. They don't see that over the long term. Hey, Dean made this right no matter what happened, right? He's a great dude. That didn't work out. That's okay. But he did right by me. So like we've had the ability over the past, I'd say year and 3 months at this point since Will's joined
Mm-hmm.
to show the world who we are. And it's been really, really invigorating because like we're opening our heart to the world. And I know it sounds a little woo-woo, but they're getting to see who Dean is, not just some jack dude on Facebook that likes to
Mm-hmm.
swear and have fun. But like when they meet us in person, when they meet us on Zoom, they can feel that there's a different level of care.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's good at what they do. I think some people are better. I think we're very good. I know there's people better. But when they feel that level of connection, they want to work with us because they know when the going gets tough, we don't get on going, we get on in, right? And that's not really normal.
It is, sadly, it is not. And I'm going to paraphrase. One of our first guests for this season was Taki Moore.
Mhm.
And he started the podcast by saying people don't buy coaching, they buy coaches.
Yep.
And it's a great start of that podcast because I think when I say coaches could be consultants, partnerships, whatever, they're gonna buy or work with you as well based on your values. Like, because if we just keep it very much aligned with the technical level, yes, like you said, there might be people that are better, similar, a little bit worse. But at the end of the day, they understand that you guys care, they understand your values. And also, I think for you guys, there is a lot of experience. Like
Wow.
Will has a freaking ton of experience. Will has been in this industry for a long while. He has been part of so many different companies that I have done work with as well. And Will was always present in those companies. He's doing a lot of things and a lot of partnerships over the years. You as well, you have a lot of experience. So I think bringing the experience, the wisdom, the like you said, the thick skin of having lived couple things in life that some people didn't, and bringing that empathy but also that directness and assertiveness, I think it's a very powerful combo.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's a lot of people doing a lot of things. Like, let's call a spade a spade. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you go look at sales trainer A through Z, most of their stuff's kind of similar in some sense, right? Different word tracks. They're like, okay, but it's all kind of getting the same result. And if you follow it, you'll get the result, right? So, like, what makes sales trainer A versus different than sales trainer B? Well, it's not really their program. Maybe it's their sales tactics. It's how well you feel connected to the influencer or the person
Mm-hmm.
of that business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for us, like we want to connect with everyone, but we
Mm-hmm.
also want to have people see who we are. So like one of the things that I promised myself, not anyone else, but myself last year, beginning of last year, is anytime I have the opportunity to meet anybody in this world, in this little wild world we work in, I will do it, right? So if someone's in Nashville and they call me, I'll clear my day and I'll go see them as long as it's not like, hey, meet me in 2 hours, right? If I'm traveling, I find a way to meet clients or people. So I always open that because the biggest thing, and I think the most influential thing in this space is not what you can do, it's but who you are,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's why our saying be a human is so valuable because when you are authentically you and you meet people and they feel you, they're either going to like you or they're not. And that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. But you're going to get a feel as to do I want to do business with this person? Do I want to actually trust them with any of my stuff or not? And you start to find that like you kind of do like most people,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's not many people that I hate, right? I don't
Mm-hmm.
I don't really hate anyone, but there's some people that I wouldn't do business with.
Mm-hmm.
But as I start to meet people, I start to get a certain vibe. They start to feel my vibe. And like the more we get out there and the more we do that, the more people like us, the more people believe in us. And then at the end of the day, even if it equals no business, right, you have people saying good things about you. It's the spider web effect of networking and you getting out there.
100%. And I go through the same. Like I travel a lot, but when I'm in Lisbon, I always get someone from the entrepreneurial space. Hey Jay, are you in Lisbon this week? Yeah, actually I am. Oh, do you want to go for dinner? Like I have dozens of dinners a year or lunch when I'm in Lisbon. I always meet someone that will connect me with someone, and that's not the goal. I just like meeting people in person because they're very different from whatever persona they use online. Like when you meet someone in person, they're more real. They're not like trying to pretend to be someone they're not. I've met a few people that actually didn't love them in person. They were fine, but I didn't love them in person. But the majority of people I actually met in person, I actually had a great experience. And the amount of connections and business and it's hard to measure, but I know it exists. It's unquestionable. Like it's just very cool to see that you do that as well, because I think has been like something I've developed as a superpower over the years, just being available. And even yesterday, someone called me. He's a CSM. He's not a business owner. CSM for a company I did some work with. Hey Jay, are you in Lisbon this week? Yeah, I am. Oh, I'm going to stop by Lisbon this weekend. You want to have dinner? Going to be a couple of CSMs that are friends of mine as well. Yeah, let's go have dinner on Sunday. I'm going to find a restaurant. We're going to do something together. And expect zero in return. But I know that CSM might leave that dinner, connect with a new business owner, work for a new company, tell that they need to work. I never know when that's going to happen. And that's not why I'm doing it. But it has happened like so many times that it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, man, it's you know how many times I've been told in person, you are way nicer than I expected you to be. You are way
Oh, I
more.
can tell you that was my exact experience the first time we met on a Zoom call.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, you build this persona up of someone in your mind,
Mm-hmm.
right? You see how they look, you see how they act, you see how they speak, and you build this persona up on who they are. And it's human nature. We judge, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no way to avoid it. We judge whether it's in a good way, a bad way, it doesn't matter. And I've had so many people, dude, you're way nicer than I expected you to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry that I didn't live up to expectations, but I'm glad, right? Because I mean, that's the beauty of this world is, if you're not willing to get out there, you don't get to see the reality of what's going on. And it's so powerful, right? Because I've met so many people who I thought were dicks. Like I'll mention one name, and I say this all the time, James Lawrence. When I first interacted with him on Facebook, I was like, I hate this guy. Hate him. He's just disagreeing with me. And through our egos aside, we decided to jump on a call, and I was like, oh my god, he's just a mirror image of me. He's great. And like we flew him out to speak at SalesCon, and like amazing human. And it's like we build these ideas up of how people are, but it's based on our experiences, not reality. So like when
Mm-hmm.
you can shatter your own experiences and enter the real world, like reality of who people are, how they operate, you start to actually feel people and you start to realize we're all okay people. Some of us are. There's some people out there that aren't, right? Welcome to the world. But we're all okay people doing similar things, trying to help similar people just in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to just see, hey, we're all a little fucked up in some way. But it's not about that. It's about what you feel when you meet them. And I don't think there's anything more powerful than that. That's why we put on our event, which we talked about before this. Not going to shout out the event at all, but like that's why we put it on, is because we get to really connect with people, sit there with people, meet people's families. They get to meet us. We get to have dinner with these people, just chat with them in the hallways. And it's the most amazing thing in the world, because it's not just about us meeting them. It's like we bring a group of people together who get to meet each other, who get to do the same thing we're talking about. We just supply the space to make it happen.
Yeah, being the enabler, it's so powerful and so valuable. And you know what I said as soon as I did the first call with you? I think it was a few months ago. I messaged Ben and I said, "Wow, Ben, this call was refreshing." That was the way I explained the call. It was like, refreshing? How so? And it was like, it felt good to connect with someone that feels mature, not the typical youngster internet marketeer business owner that is in a rush to buy a Lambo and show off. I'm not saying that everyone is like that in our space, but I get a lot of that
Oh, yeah.
here and there. And whenever I get to meet someone that is a little bit more mature, grounded, more life experience, not just business experience, I just feel it's more relatable to me, and it feels refreshing. And Ben loved really hard at my feedback. And I was like, that call felt good. And I mean, I had connected with Sean multiple times before in other ventures he was part of. So Sean and I already had some connection, but with you was the first time. I was like, it was really, really refreshing. But I want to go back to you because you've been through a lot of different things over the years. What would be one of your key lessons after doing those first two less successful? I'm not going to say they were not successful, but less successful than the existing one, the existing business you have. What would be the biggest lessons you've learned from starting the other two businesses?
That's a really good question, man. And I didn't think about this answer, but I have a really good one to it, because I do work with a lot of sales reps. And funny
Mm,
enough, like when I work with them, I'm very direct in the fact that where you are now is not where you'll be tomorrow, right? I have this ideology on how we move through life in our career, that we're going from stepping stone to stepping stone, right? And where you're at today is likely not where you'll be in 5 years. 99% of the listeners listening, what you're doing right now in 5 years, you won't be doing it. And that's
mm,
okay, right? It hit me really hard when I left one of the companies that I thought I would be with forever. I was like, I'm going to be nothing. But then I kind of stepped back and I was like, well, what did I do there? What did I learn there? Who did I become there? And I started to realize, like, as we go from stepping stone to stepping stone, um, sometimes they're bigger, sometimes they're smaller, sometimes it's a step back, sometimes it's a leap forward, sometimes we're on them for a long time, right? But the lesson is, like, we're continuously gathering and learning things. We're gathering information, learning things, and implementing. And the reason we go from stepping stone to stepping stone is because there's something else needed in our life
mm,
at that time. Maybe it's a step back. Maybe it's you've got all this stuff and you're going to launch this huge business and it's going to be a stone you'll be on for the next 10 years. But like, you're continuously gathering, learning, and experiencing things that allow you to do more, do better, or step in a way that you need. So, like, my experience from running those businesses and being internal to some large companies is that we're getting better every day, right? And we're taking what we learned there and utilizing it in the future. So, like, if you're new to the entrepreneurial space, like, you might hop around quite a bit because you've got to learn the lessons that we've all learned, right? And it's
mm.
not pay your dues, but like, you have to learn the lessons to know what to look for and what not to look for. But then as you're learning these lessons, you intake this information that allows you to do better, right? And so that's why probably you've been able to run this business for 5 years. I bet if I were to ask you what the previous 10 looked like, there's a lot of
I
fun in
mean,
there,
a
right?
lot, a lot. I think
Right?
I started my entrepreneurial journey. I was probably 18 or 19, and I had like 10 failed businesses, if you
Oh,
will,
yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
I think the previous one I had before ethical scaling was quite successful and what people say would be a successful business. We did that
Mhm.
fitness and health slash wellness business for like 5 years. So it was quite okay. We had
Mhm.
like, I think it was more than 250,000 followers across all platforms,
Awesome.
20,000 people in our email list. We were quite relevant in what we did. But before that, dude, I tried so many different ideas because I didn't have many opportunities when I grew up. There wasn't a lot of money. We weren't like the wealthiest. We always had food and shelter. So I'm not complaining or acting as a victim at all, but I always had to think outside the box if I wanted to create something new and something different for me. So I experimented a lot, and I do believe, and I believe people don't need to go through all the mistakes I did, but I do believe there is no shortcut to wisdom. I think
Yeah.
is wisdom comes with the hard lessons.
There's a saying, man, I'm in recovery from drug addiction. It's almost
Mm-hmm.
11 years. And there's a recovery is we can't rob someone of their pain.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And like, the thing is, man, like we have to experience things to get where we want. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you look at any successful entrepreneur, like just go pick one. You don't see all their failed businesses, right? You're judging them based on their current level of success, not on their past failures. But if you go look at any of them, they've had tons of failed businesses. I don't think it's failed businesses. I think it's lessons learned, because
Mm-hmm.
what they have and what they're doing right now is a cumulative effect of all the things that they've done, all the lessons they've learned, the trials, the tribulations, the wins, the losses, the fun. And like my big takeaway is like, will hardly selling be here forever?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, maybe not. Chances are, like in 30 years, hardly selling won't be a business, and that's okay. But there will be something else that Dean is doing,
Mm-hmm.
right? There absolutely will be. And whether I'm doing it with my business partners now or not, I think based on how we operate, we probably will. But like, there's going to be different things that come as a
Mm-hmm.
result of everything we're doing right now. So if you're in it, like my best suggestion is to stay in it, right? Lean into it. Don't try and lean out, because the more you can learn, the more you can gather, the more you can do, the better you're going to become, and the faster whatever you're working toward is going to get, right? Or the faster you're going to get there, right? I mean, I go very deep in everything I do, but I learn lessons very fast. I learn them very hard. I'm willing to lose money. Like, for example, dude, we've spent over 6 figures on ads over the past 9 months between like agencies, creative, like ad spend.
Mm-hmm.
We just got our first close from ads. And so like the lesson there is like, if you don't succeed at first, keep going, right?
Mm-hmm.
And don't just decide to like half-ass it because you didn't succeed. There's lessons within every failure. Closed our first deal off ads. I'm like, oh my God, like only 9 months later and 6 figures in. It's the same principle within everything of life. If you want to lose 100 pounds and you don't succeed at first, we'll keep going. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
that process, that principle is the same in everything in business, everything in life. Is like the difference between a winner and a loser is the winner tried one more time.
Mm-hmm. And I think when we do all of this, either being like losing weight or building a business, you really have to buy into the cliche of falling in love with the process a little bit, at least a little bit. Because if you just get attached to the outcome, I don't believe we have full control over outcomes. We do have full control over what we do, the lead indicators, and those are going to create the best conditions ever to create the outcomes you envision. But you have to be patient, and you have to closely monitor the lead indicators. And sometimes you need to shift and change the lead indicators. But they're same thing as losing weight. How many times did I do everything well on my journey to losing 100 pounds, and I stepped on the scale and the weight didn't change?
Mm-hmm.
I should just blame myself because I didn't do it right. No, I did it right that week, but for some external reason, didn't sleep well, extra stress, extra salt, more food in my bowel, like whatever that was, it didn't let my weight on the scale on that specific day of the week not to be lower than it was last week. What should I do? Well, I should have to stick to the process for 1 week more and see if it did change. And then the week after, I lost 2 pounds instead of a pound. And then I was super happy on what happened. Was it what I did on the second week? No, it was exactly that I stick to the process for 2 weeks in a row to give it enough time to create the results. And I'm not against changing the process. Every now and then you need to be pragmatic and change the process. But a lot of times it's just sticking to it and iterating it instead of completely overhauling it.
There's an image that comes to mind when you say that, and it's a guy digging, right? He's
Mm-hmm.
digging
Mm-hmm.
horizontally
Mm-hmm.
through, and there's the win, the gold on the other
Mm-hmm.
side,
Mm-hmm.
and like he's right there. Like a couple more hits and he would be there, but he stops and gives up.
Yeah, it
Right?
gives
So a
up and
lot of
turns back.
yeah,
Yeah.
so a lot of the times in this entrepreneurial journey, like we never know how close we are to the thing that we actually want, right? If you
Mm-hmm.
talk numerically, sure you know, but the thing is, like if you actually get into the entrepreneurial journey, a lot of us don't do it for money. But
Mm-hmm.
there's things that I want with the money, but like it's not the goal, right? We just never know how close we are. Sometimes it's one interaction, sometimes it's one connection, sometimes it's one person, sometimes it's a conversation, sometimes it's just how you wake up that day that allows you to step into who you're about to become, right? And it's woo woo for sure, but the reality is like one conversation can change your life.
It did for us multiple times over the past 5 years. One unexpected conversation with an unexpected person that connected us with someone that we never hoped to connect with. It's just amazing how things unfold. And one thing that I like to do with our listeners is to give them a playbook for success. And I want to start by asking you, one of the things you guys do a lot, it's guarantee based selling. Like, you guys guarantee you're going to find revenue for the companies you work with. Do you want to expand a little bit more on how you guys are able to be confident to do something like that? Because I know some people love guarantees, some people hate guarantees. So I think it's a really good topic.
So our guarantee is really simple. We'll find you 35% more revenue, or you don't pass. And the thing is, like, everyone thinks their team is good, but everyone has blind spots, right? When it's your own baby, you start to ignore the things that are ugly. You know what I mean? It's hard to see the negatives when it's yours. And so, like, we come in as an external source and we audit everything from front end to back end. Okay, we opt into every top of funnel link. We go through everything. We look at the text, the emails, how quick we're called, what comes through. We want to see how it feels as a prospect, because it's your baby. If your baby pukes on you, you're like, oh, it's fine, right? But if your baby pukes on me, I'm going to be a little grossed out. You know, so like, we come in on the front end as a prospect because we want to see how it actually feels, right? Because you may think it feels good, but the thing is, if you've been doing this for 3 years, there's a chance that you have a Frankenstein process put together where you're just like, hey, this is what should we do? We had this. And the thing is, you never actually walk through and see it. But then we go in the back end, we see, how are your operational systems for sales, right? How are reps operating versus how should they be operating? What are they saying versus what should they be saying, right? What does the data tell us? What does the pipeline look like? What do your meeting cadences look like? How are your reps feeling? And so what we do is we gather all this information and we look for the top 3 things. Sometimes it's your show rate. Sometimes it's your close rate. Sometimes it's how many times you dial your leads. Sometimes it's how quick you dial your leads based on the industry you're in. There's so many different things, and we'll put together a very conservative number on what we think can come up based on what we're seeing. Dude, if you have a 90% close rate, I can't really train your closers to be better, right? If I bring you to 95, it's not bringing your revenue up. But if you have a show rate of 40% and I know I can bring it up to 55, that's pretty valuable compared to bringing your close rate up from 90 to 95. Even if your close rate's 30%, 30 to 35, that show rate's going to give us a way higher effect. So the question is, how do we talk to more people, and how do we get more people booked for calls, and how do we get them to show up? Right. So, like, we'll take a look at everything. And the thing is, we have not come into an account where we have not found at least 35% more revenue. And if we don't find it, we'll send you your money back. Right. It's a super cheap audit, not pitching anyone on here, but it's $2,500. And the thing is, if we don't find it, we'll just send you your money back. If someone's unhappy with it and they're like, this is horrible, just take your money back. The money is just to play, right? If you want to play, you need to pay. So, like, it's not for us to just like say, oh, we're going to make a ton of money, because $2,500 doesn't do anything.
No.
All it does is it pays for our time that we spend on the audit.
So, like, it's a form of commitment. It's a form of commitment. You guys also want to work with people that are committed, who are willing to pay you guys. You don't want tire kickers. That's going to be a waste of your time as well.
Yeah. I mean, dude, because we found through trial and error that if we walk a certain process, it works. AKA, we have really good clients when they pay us to audit them. We have really good clients when they want us to fix the stuff. We manage really good teams when we fix the stuff, and then we come in and manage. Because there's a level of, like, I know Jay and Jay knows me. I know how his team operates. His team knows how I operate. It's not going from I met you today to we're married tomorrow. And, like, dude, it's set up for that, right? We sign clients on the back end, but not everyone wants to work with us after, and that's perfectly okay, because that's our funnel. That's how it works. But I'm not going to call you 20 times. Now, if you're a client of ours and we're having your team work, yeah, we're going to have your sales reps call people a bunch of times. But for us, like, I've just chose to do business different than most people do. Everyone zigs, I zag. If you don't want it, I'm not going to bother you about it. I'm not going to sit here and, like, fight for you to make more money or do better in your business. If you don't want to, that's perfectly fine. You can either come back later or never come back. I'm not going to bother you a million times. But it's just how we've chosen to do business. And truthfully, it's like ChatGPT came up with our business name a couple of years ago. It's 100% in line with our business name.
Yeah, you guys are hardly selling. If they want to stay, they stay. That's it. I like how you guys look at business, and I know some listeners might not resonate with it. I do, and you know why I do? Because you guys run your business the same way we do run ours. Like, We're not in a rush to scale. We just want to have meaningful relationships, long-term clients we can deliver great results. We also have done audits for the past 5 years. Audits are a really good entry point. We call it the first date offer, exactly because we don't want to get married right away. It's just a first date. We do the first date. We find them opportunities. If they want to implement the opportunities with us, amazing. If they want to do them by themselves, just go ahead and do it yourself. I'm cool with it. I'm happy. Anyways, I know you're going to get much better results compared to you not doing the audit at all.
Exactly. And that's just how it is, man, is like, we'll show you the blind spots. And if you
Mm-hmm.
choose to go and take it and do it yourself, like, you're in a better position now. Because I'll give someone this, because maybe there's a listener who has a team. Just go opt into your stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
go in under a fake name, fake email, one that you have access to, and just follow through your process and just sit there and be a prospect for 24 hours. You know, you don't have to not work, but like, just see when your team calls you, see what
Mm-hmm.
emails come through, go book a call, see what texts come through, and just put yourself in your prospect shoes. And how does it feel? The chances are you're not going to watch the pre-call stuff that was sent to you. No one does. Chances are you're not going to open some like AI generated email. Chances are you're not going to respond to someone that has quotations or respond back. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like, how does your process look? Like, you can figure out a lot of stuff just by doing that and removing yourself from the, hey, I'm biased, this is mine, and just going through someone else's process or go through your process as someone else. Right. And you can figure out a lot of holes in your system that way, because most people don't treat it like a human discovery
Mm-hmm.
call. Well, do we know it's a mask of a sales call? We're aware. So like, the reality is, like, we find holes in people's systems. It's not hidden, dude. It's not hidden, but how to fix those, that's where we truly come in. We do spend a lot of time in some accounts. There's some hidden stuff that we do find, but for most accounts, a lot of the stuff that we find is very, very surface level that you probably could have found if you just took the time. But because you're biased and you don't want to, and it's your baby, it's really hard to look at it objectively. So
Yeah,
like,
no one wants to deal with the elephant in the room. I have seen that multiple times. Like the elephant is pink in the middle of the room, and no one wants to acknowledge that.
it's got the invisibility cloak on it, dude. It's
Mhm.
okay. And that's fine. Sometimes I just rip it off and I'm like, hey, we ran through an audit yesterday and they weren't blown away at what we found. Yeah, I kind of knew this stuff. I was like, okay, well, now that we know and it's in front of us, are we going to do something about it? Because
Mhm.
it's not a matter of it can hide now. Now everyone on the team is aware, but even more so, you're aware of what could come if you fix it on a
Mhm.
conservative level, right? Not saying you're going to like 5x, but like conservatively, what's going to happen if you fix it? Now we know what we're actually missing. Do we want to talk about it? Right. So
Mhm.
sometimes just bringing what they're hiding to light helps them see, okay, I've actually got to focus on this instead of continuing to shun it away.
Love it. What about leadership? You talked a few times about the human first leadership approach. How do you use that to build a great team culture?
Well, you have to be honest and open with your people, because if you're not, how could you expect them to? Right. So, like, I've shared on here my failed businesses, I've shared on here about my
Mhm.
drug addiction. Right. The thing is, like, there's nothing to hide from me. Like, I don't want to hide anything from you, whether it be with what's going on internally, what's going on marketing, because when I start hiding something, you start hiding something. And when there's
Mhm.
things hidden, what happens is you feel less connected. So I think leadership is a you first situation. If you can't lead yourself, how could you expect to lead other people? If you wouldn't follow yourself, how could you expect people to follow you? So, like, it starts with how you take care of yourself, right? I don't run the mindset of, oh, you need to train every morning, have a crazy morning routine, but like, you need to take care of yourself. You can't have a bunch of things going on in your life that are chaotic, then expect to show up at work the next day and
Mhm.
have others. So, like, the people on your team have to respect you. And
Mhm.
if you don't respect yourself, it's impossible that they'll respect you. But like, one of the things I look at is any team member I work with on a deep level, I know everything about them.
Mhm.
I know their family name. I know why they're working here. I know what's going on in their life. And it helps because when something's going on, as we know, it's typically external,
Mhm.
right? We can have that conversation with them, right? We can have a conversation with them about their dog being sick, or their kid got hurt that day, or maybe they don't feel like themselves because they've gained a couple pounds, right? And then we can have a real human conversation with them, which leads them back to performing. Or
Mhm.
maybe we have to pull them off for a little bit. But like, we can't have those conversations if we don't get to know the person. Like, dude, I had a team of 77. I could tell you the names of all of their spouses, why they were there, what they were working toward, their kids' names, what they wanted to make money for. And I can tell you none of them wanted to buy Lamborghinis.
Mhm.
I can tell you everything about them. Because when something was going on, it wasn't a conversation of data, it was a conversation of externals. The data is just what cued me over to those things.
Mhm. It's amazing because I think it's so relevant. And if you go back to a very old book, How to Win Friends and Influence People,
Mm-hmm.
you don't need to be interesting. You just need to be interested.
Mm-hmm.
And people neglect that basic idea of like, if you want to make sure people are connected with you, you really need to be interested in them, knowing more about them, their family, their kids, their wives. Like you said, I think that's a beautiful way to look at leadership because it's so much lacking in our industry nowadays. It
Leadership
feels shallow at the moment.
Leadership is asking someone how their day was and giving a shit about their response. Right? It's not my quote. I took it from someone. I don't remember his name. It was some guy in the military. But
Mhm.
it's true. It's asking someone about their day and giving a shit about what they say back to you, giving a shit about their response. Right? And I gave a whole speech on leadership at SalesCon. And I had the whole room engaged. I can't say I was the best speaker there, but I had the whole room engaged. Because as you start to get into it, what really matters is, do you care about people? Right? Are you willing to put these people before you? Because there's sales and there's production, which is a
Mhm.
selfish thing. And then there's leadership, which is a selfless thing. AKA, when I'm in a leadership position, I am not doing these things because of what they do for me. I'm doing these things because of what they do for you. And it's
Mhm.
perfectly okay to want things from you winning too. Like it's perfectly okay that, hey, if Jay wins because I'm helping him, I get something out of it as well. But my focal point is and has to be on you first.
Mhm.
Because if it's not, you're going to feel that. Right. Like, dude, when I first took over that team and I took him from 1 to 5 million a month, I was not making a lot of money. I had reps making 30, 40, $50,000 a month while I was making 17, 18. That's great money to
Mhm.
a lot of people. But dude, for
Yep.
a company doing 3.5 million a month at that point, I wasn't really getting paid a lot. But I knew, hey, if I got these people where they needed to be, what
Mhm.
would happen on the back end is my income rose. So I didn't
Mhm.
care about this. I was fine. It was if I get these people up and going and producing and happy and living their life and taking care of themselves, I also get taken care of on the back end. But if I focus on me, they lose, which I lose, right?
Mhm.
So like it's perfectly okay to want something from others winning, but they need to feel and they need to know that they come first. And it
Mhm.
doesn't come from saying, it comes from doing, right? Believing doesn't come from what I say, it comes from what I do. But it's not just how I do it, it's how you perceive it.
Mhm. 100%. I would keep going for hours, but I want to make sure we have time for
Yeah,
some
of course.
rapid fire wisdom.
Let's do it.
Number one, what's one lesson from bodybuilding you still use in business today?
Uh, it's hard. Not everyone's meant for it. But if you want it bad enough, you just need to keep doing it no matter if the result comes or not. Because the love has to be on the process, not the result, as you said.
Love it.
Wisdom,
And
wisdom from
what's your favorite sales question to ask a prospect?
how can I help?
So good. So good.
Just
And
quit my
what's the most overrated sales book or idea people believe is the
that
best
you need
idea?
that you need to follow a process someone else built. And I'll give a 30-second reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
Is I've never gone through any formal sales training. Never.
Mm-hmm.
But if you follow someone else's process, it's not authentic to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're going to sound inauthentic trying to follow someone else's process. But when they connect with you, that's where the sale happens because they need to believe in you, not the product.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And what does ethical sales mean to you?
Giving a shit about the other person more than you care about the purchase. You will sell more by caring about the person than you will about caring about what you get from the from the product sale.
Yeah, that attachment to the outcome. We also see that in client success as well. CSMs, when they're responsible for the upsell, like when we first introduced the idea that they're going to be responsible for an upsell, they get so attached
Oh
to
yeah.
the outcome that they lose all the upsells at the beginning because they're so in panic mode. Like, dude, it's just another coaching conversation, like 100 coaching conversations we had with that client for the past 90 days. Why are you overcomplicating it? They get in their own head, think about the outcome, that they forget is just another coaching conversation with someone we already have a relationship with.
It's just leadership, man. You have to
Mhm.
be able to lead the other person to what's right for them, regardless if it helps you or not. And you have to be okay with the outcome.
Lovely. I love it. How can people connect with you and know more about you? Maybe they need an audit. Maybe they need some support with sales. Maybe they just want to follow you online. What would be the easiest way?
Yeah, dude, find me on Facebook, Dean Kozora, Kozora. I don't have setters in my profile. It's me. I don't have a team in my profile. So like legitimately just shoot me a message. Like friend request me, follow me on there and shoot me a message. I will respond. I respond to everybody. Now, if someone sends me a dumb message, I'm going to send a dumb message back. Like just send me a message. I'm more than happy to chat. Like, and if there's something like I shared about drug addiction, like if you're struggling there too, like I will chat with you all night if you need. And that's the reality. Like I have, and I will, but shoot me a friend request, shoot me a message. Let's talk. Like whether you buy an audit or you just want to say hello, like I'll have a full blown conversation with you. And if there's anything I can do to serve, I absolutely will, even if there's no sale attached. Because that's how I want to do business. It's not doing business, but I just want to continue forming relationships because I firmly believe the goodwill you put out, it may not come back today or tomorrow, but it might come back in 10 or 20 years. And like, I'm okay delaying gratification enough by doing as much as I can for people, even if it just comes back as a good feeling in 20 years that I've done the right thing.
I love it. It was amazing to have you here. I feel like we have a lot more to unpack, and that might mean a new episode in the future, maybe for next season. But I want to, again, go back to one of the things you said multiple times and how we started the podcast: be a human and then be a good human. It was amazing to have Dean on board talking about his experiences, his businesses, where hardly selling is at the moment, the companies you guys are helping them with. So it was a pleasure to have with us today.
Brother, thank you so much for having me on, and I appreciate anyone that's actually taken the time to listen, sincerely.
Love it. For all of our listeners, I will be looking forward to see you on the next episode, and I want to wish you a fulfilled life, and I will see you soon.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Ethical Scaling Podcast, The Masters of the Game. But before you go, remember to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode packed with juicy insights and a sprinkle of laughter. If you enjoyed today's show and want to spread the love, leave us a review and share this podcast with your fellow business mavens. Together, we can create a ripple effect of ethical growth and impact that reverberates throughout the digital cosmos. Until next time, keep scaling ethically, keep dreaming big, and never forget to find joy in the journey. This was Jay and Ben signing off with a wink and a smile. Catch you on the flip side.